Good morning, guys. This is the little willow, and thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about what I've done here so you can get started. If you don't know 2-needle applique, there's probably an area or a tutorial on how to do 2-needle applique. I'm not sure if it's on my site because I didn't know if it recorded it or not, but so basically what you're going to be doing is you have your idea, you get your design, you draw it on your paper. Now I like to use like a piece like this to draw the circumference, and then maybe a smaller container to draw the design in, to draw the design, because you want your design to be smaller than the circumference of your piece. So then you go ahead and you would start from the middle section and you work your way out. And that's how I do these. This is how they're turning out so far. But yeah, you draw your design on your paper and you put it on whatever you're going to bead on. So if you have fabric, you would put it on your fabric. I do use felt board on the back here. It is important to use felt board because it does keep it stiff enough to keep your beads as flat. If you use a soft piece of felt board, it's fine, or felt, not felt board. You're going to have a little bit of problems. You're probably going to have to add some kind of piece of paper in there to keep it kind of stiff, because you want it to be stiff. So it's easier to follow those lines with your needle. And I use a size 12 beading needle. I also use a size 10 leather needle to sew the back and the front together. Okay, and when I bead, I start with the first line, and then I go up, and then I fill in. And you can see right here how I've done this. Start with the first line, go up, fill in. And then you want to make sure every petal, if you want your piece to be symmetrical, is going to be the same. So let's see, how many beads today? 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9. And why is there 9? Because 9 is shared with this one. So if you have 9 and 9, and then the top is the shared 10. So that's how I do it. I've been beading for over, I don't know, maybe over 30 years. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so there's 6, 5, 6, 5, and that one bead is the shared bead. So it's 5, 5, and then there's your 6. 5, 5, and there's your 6. So that's how I do mine. They do turn out very pretty. And now here's an example of using this medium that I just found online, and you can get these online. It's like I don't know if they're called gemstone trim. It's a gemstone trim, and they come in like a spool of gold, silver, black, and red. I think there might be other colors too. I'm just not sure. I haven't really been able to look it up. I actually bought that from my friend, but I noticed it on Amazon when I was looking. Okay, this is my signature fringe trim, which you can go to one of my videos and check out. Now, the only thing about this gemstone trim is you do have to glue it, and then you need to sew. And when you're sewing, you have to be careful about the prongs. There's prongs in there that's holding those little glass beads in place. And so you want to make sure that you get between each one of those. And this is not going to be able to connect very well because you can't really connect it. There's no way to connect it with the string. So you have to sew both of these down, and then you just sew them down between. So, and you just have to be careful about it. Now these beads are actually beads I made. So, and I do work with polymer clays, and So, and then I put a UV resin on top of my polymer clay. So you can do all kinds of designs with polymer clays, and they turn out really pretty. Here is a bigger version of what I did. When I'm doing a polymer clay cane, the canes are quite large when they start off. They're about this big when I start them. And then I reduce and reduce and reduce until they are about this size and that size and even smaller. So here is my signature trim again, and here is another piece. These ones I finished last night, and this is what they look like. I put a bird with this one, and now these chickadees are a brick stitch that I did. I think there is another chickadee pattern online that another lady does. I think her tail is way different than mine, but this is what that looks like. And these are going to be just as pretty, but I wanted to let you know what I did. And so basically what I do is a felt board, a piece of leather on top, a 2-needle applique that goes around, and then when I'm done with that, I will put a backing on here of some other type of leather, and then I sew it down with my size 10 needle, and I get up to the top, and sometimes I will clip that end off because that end doesn't do anything. It just is a little bit in the way. So I clip that off, and I will add a jump ring wherever they went. Here they are. You can get sets of jump rings online, and I will add a jump ring in between. And I don't know if you noticed, here's another one that I did. And I'll show you where I put the jump ring. So basically I sewed the jump ring in there, okay? But I kept it on the back side. So when I'm doing my trim, I go around and I hide that jump ring on the back side. And here's another example of how I used my medium to go around the piece. So, and then this one actually was a mother of pearl bead. So, and these are done with a size 15, size 12, and size 11 beads. So, yeah. All right then. So there is my semi-tutorial. It's not really a tutorial now, is it? Because I didn't want to drag you out for hours. I just wanted to include you in on some of the things that I'm doing and how I did it, so you know how you can do it. So anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. If I accidentally left anything out, tell me. I did use this glue. You know, sometimes I have a tendency to leave things out. So I use this glue. This glue bonds with fabric, lace, glass, leather, wood, trims. You can use other types of glue. It's a good glue for me. I don't know. And another thing, it's always important to have a good pair of scissors, a nice pair of pliers, whatever pliers you choose. I like these ones because they have a way to grab the paper. So, and that's another thing I didn't talk about with you. I did have a line around here just in case I wanted to put the trim. Okay, but I might not do that now. So, but anyways, and I also use this needle. You can find these needles in the sewing aisle, and they're great for pulling away extra paper. So when I'm done with this, I will actually, and I can pull it away now, just pull the paper away from the beads. You can see how I did that. And then I just, any little bits, I will use this needle to get in between. And I have to be very careful not to disturb the tack down threads. So, and let's see. Oh, a good thimble. This one looks very hideous. I'm sorry. It goes through you know what and back. So every once in a while I have to make myself a new thimble. And the reason I use leather though and people want to know why I use leather, because it's soft and the end of the bead hits it constantly, and it can cut your thread if you just use a metal or a glass one or whatever you're going to be using, even rubber. It will cut the thread. So I have noticed, that leather actually is soft and it doesn't cut the thread. It gives it some cushion. So I don't know if I forgot anything else. I seem to, oh yes, the thread. So I use a size D Nemo, and there's all kinds of other types of threads as well. Like you can use a Fireline. Fireline is really great. They have them in different tesses and things like that. I just use this one because I'm not doing, this is more economical for me. I can get a 3-ounce spool and it will last me longer because I do a massive amount of beading. The only thing about this is you do have to watch it around hot places, the sun. You know, like if you're living in a hot place, it's probably better to go with the Fireline. But anyways, and then when you do your beading, like when I do my 2-needle applique, I always, and I'm going to repeat this, use a double thread. I double my thread, and because if you have a single thread and you say, oh, maybe I'll just double this one and I'll use a single thread to put the bead, you know, to tack the beads down with, right? That's not very good, because what happens if your tack down thread that was single gets cut? There's another little repair that you're going to have to do. Okay, and you know, what do I know? I've been beading for over 30 some years. So when I'm telling you it's better off to have a double thread and make that allowance between your beads, it really is. It's better off if you do that. So, and it's easier to do repair. So if that single thread cuts, it's going to just, you know, it's going to, you know, cause a lot of problems. It's not going to have stability. So you want your threads to both, your tack on thread and your put down thread, to both be doubled. Okay? And I can't tell you enough, that is the smartest thing to do. Like I said, I've been beading for over 30 some years, and I have noticed that it is heavy duty. It's more heavy duty. You don't have as many problems when you do that. When you do the single thread method, it does not work very well, and your piece gets cut, then it'll unravel, or and that's why I change out needles. So every petal that I do, I will change the needles out. So the one that I tacked it down with becomes the one I put the next petal on with. And that's what I do between every petal, because if you get a cut, like I said, then the whole thing will come unraveled. If you have a single thread, then you have, you know, it can become compromised. And what happens is then it becomes loose, and nobody likes something that's going to just fall apart. You want to be able to keep these for keepsakes for your family and your friends, and make them last for a very long time. This is a very expensive piece of jewelry. Mine go for sometimes up to $100, some pieces. So it is a very expensive piece of jewelry. You need to make sure that it stays together for a very long time. Okay, so with that all being said, I think I'm done. Not sure if I talked about beads. Size 11. These ones are a size 12. So you can see that the 11s and the 12s, and here's the size 15. They're all different sizes here. So 11s are bigger, and then you go up a size 12 and it becomes smaller. It's so strange that it's reversed. So size 15s would be the higher number, but the smaller bead. 11s, the next highest number, and they become smaller, but in between the 11s. Here's 11. I don't know if I have any size 10s on me today. These are supposed to be an 11, but they are more like a size 10. We'll just say it like that. So, you know, and it depends on what kind of beads you get, but I will say this, the smaller the design, maybe the smaller the bead you should use. Okay, I also like to use, you know, size 2mm pearl beads. It's for some types of embellishment, like you notice here, I have a size 2mm pearl before I wrap it. I did use 11s on this one, 12s and 11s on this one, 12s, 15s, and 11s on these ones. Okay, so I think that's all I have to talk about today, but that's what I'm working on, the earrings. And thank you for joining me, and we'll see you some other time. All right, bye-bye.